Let's talk about our second component within the aggregate expenditures model with investment. Investment is spending by businesses that add to the productive capacity of the economy. And remember that in terms of investment, it is the one that fluctuates the most in terms of where we are in the business cycle. So here, when times are really, really good, we notice that investment spending tends to be very, very high as well. But anytime there's a recession or downturn, we notice that that investment tends to fall as well. So you notice all these ups and downs with this red line right here. Investment is going to be very dependent on where we are in the business cycle compared to where consumption is. So consumption is very, very sort of predictable. It doesn't tend to change all too much, even through recessions. So here we notice that investment is going to be very, very volatile. And in terms of investment, there are only two things that we want to focus in on for investment demand. So what is exactly going to be, what is investment dependent on? Number one, investment levels depend primarily on the rate of return on capital. And rate of return just tells us exactly how much is the firm or corporation going to receive by doing this project or making some type of investment in this project. Of course, firms and corporations, they like to see very high rates of return, so there's going to be a positive relationship here. The higher the return on capital or the rate of return, the higher the investment is going to be. So investments earning a high rate of return are those that are undertaken first. So here, firms and corporations always like to see a high rate of return. Interest rates are the second variable or sort of determinant that we can take a look at. Interest rates also affect investment because most business investment is financed. So most firms and corporations, anytime they want to make some type of investment, they typically don't have enough money on hand right away to make this investment, so they have to borrow money. And when they borrow money, they're going to have to pay some type of interest. Here, with interest rates, firms and corporations, they like to see low interest rates because the lower the interest rate is, the lower the cost of borrowing money. So here, there's going to be a negative relationship. As interest rates fall, investments rise, and as interest rates increase, investment is going to fall. So here, the rate of return and interest rates are the two determinants that we take a look at that are going to affect investment demand. There are other determinants, such as the ones that you see on this particular slide right here, but really don't worry about too much about them. So here, just basically eliminate this slide. I probably should have eliminated it as well. But here, in terms of this, we won't talk about any of these determinants in depth. We only want to focus in on about the rate of return and interest rates. So with this in mind, what shape do you think our investment line is going to take a look like, or what is our investment line when we plot it on the Cartesian plane? What shape is it going to take? And as you expect, our investment schedule is going to be a horizontal line. So here, why exactly is it a horizontal line? Well, we say investment spending is autonomous or independent of income. Remember, we want our spending components on the vertical axis with the income on the horizontal axis right here. But we noticed that we never talked about income at all with these two determinants right here. It's only the rate of return and interest rates. It has nothing to do with income. So here, investment is exactly going to be constant no matter what the level of income is going to be. So I0 right here is exactly going to stay constant no matter what income is within the particular country. So here, Target, Walmart, Amazon, they exactly know how much income they want to undertake, and they're not going to change how much investment they're going to undertake based on income. So they really don't take a look at me and say, hey, look at this jerk's income. His income increased from $1,000 to $2,000. Let's go ahead and change what our investment is. In fact, they really don't care about me or you when it comes in terms of income, because they already know how much investment they want to go ahead and undertake. So here, investment basically independent or autonomous of income. It wasn't one of the two determinants. We only focus in on the rate of return and also the interest rates. Remember that the income right here is our personal income, our disposable income, and not necessarily going to be the income of the firm or corporation. So here, with this is all we really need to, what we really need to talk about in terms of investment. And once we include consumption, so here, when we include consumption and investment together, we get something known as the simple aggregate expenditures model. So far, AE equals consumption plus investment, and we want to go ahead and take a look at what our simple aggregate expenditures model looks like when we only include these two particular variables. What is our simple macroeconomic equilibrium going to look like? And we'll take a very, very in-depth look at that in the next section. Very, very big analysis that we need to go ahead and take a look at. But in this section, all we really talked about was investment. And when we add everything together that we've talked about so far, we'll get the simple aggregate expenditures model.